This morning we are talking about who is the driver in your seat. Now, whether you are a Jaguar, whether you are a BMW, whatever car you might be, my prayer for you this morning is that Jesus takes the wheel for you. In the book of James, chapter 4, what book? Chapter? It talks about how we need to humble ourselves before God, surrender ourselves to God. And that can only happen when you ask him to lead into your life. So this morning we're going to talk about that. And if you're living in that darkness and if you're living in that turmoil, he is our lighthouse. So I want you to stand with us as we continue our worship, because we're going to sing My Lighthouse. Okay, I want you to clap it up this morning. Here we go. We're going to sing it up. You know this one?
And in my doubts, in my failures, you won't walk out. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Oh, you are the peace in my troubled sea.
We're going to keep singing in the silence.
In the silence, you won't let go. In the questions, the truth will hold. Your great love will lead us through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Oh, you are the peace in my troubled sea.
Okay, we're going to get the actions up in here. Here we go. My lighthouse.
Oh, my lighthouse.
Hey.
My lighthouse, shining in the darkness. I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse. My lighthouse. I will trust and promise. You will carry me safe to shore. Oh, oh, oh. Safe to shore. Oh, oh, oh. Safe to shore. Oh, oh. Safe to shore.
I won't fear.
I won't fear what tomorrow brings. With each morning I'll rise and sing. My glad I will lead us through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Oh, you are the peace in my troubled sea.
Hey, here we go. My lighthouse.
Oh, my lighthouse, shining in the darkness. I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust your promise. You will carry me safe to shore. Oh, oh, safe to shore. Oh, oh, safe to shore. Oh, oh, safe to shore.
We're going to sing Fire Before Us.
Fire before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storm.
Fire.
Fire before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through
We
the
sing
storm.
fire.
Fire before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storm.
Fire.
Fire before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storm. Oh, my lighthouse, my lighthouse, shining in the darkness. I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust your promise. You will carry me safe to shore. Oh, oh, safe to shore. Oh, oh, safe to shore. Oh, oh, safe to shore.
Hey, we're going to keep worshiping. Who am I that you are mindful of me? I am a friend of God. We sing, who am I?
Who am I that you are mindful of me?
That you hear me
That you hear me
when I call.
when I call.
Is it true?
Is it true that you are thinking of me? How you love me. It's amazing. Full of that you hear me when
I call. Is it true that you are thinking of me?
Is it true that you are thinking of me? How you love me.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I am a friend. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. He calls me friend. I am a friend of God. 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 He calls me friend. We're gonna go back to the top. Who am I?
Who am I that you are mindful of me? That you hear me when I call.
Is it true that you were thinking?
Is it true that you are thinking of me? How you love me.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Lord, you're amazing. It's amazing. One more time. It's amazing. I am a friend of God. Oh, I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. He calls me friend over and over. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. He calls me friend. We're gonna sing God Almighty.
God Almighty, Lord of glory, you have called me friend.
God Almighty.
God Almighty, Lord of glory, you have called me friend.
God, sing God.
God Almighty, Lord of glory, you have called me friend.
We sing God Almighty.
God Almighty, Lord of glory, you have called me friend.
We sing I am a friend of God.
I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. He calls me friend over and over. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. He calls me friend.
He calls me friend.
He calls me friend. He calls me friend.
I want you to turn around to a friend and I want you to hug them. I want you to give them a high five. Here I am to worship. Light of the world, you step down into the darkness. Let's sing Light of the World.
Light of the world, you step down.
Okay, how are we all this morning? Good. For those of you who are musicians, you'll understand that sometimes when you're playing these things can go wrong. So if you hear the 410 errors, that's about how many there'll be. Just ignore them. It's a very old song. Maybe some of you have heard it. He was born in Bethlehem, they say. There was a star to light the path to where he lay. Rich or poor, they came from far and near. That all heard the reason he was here. He was the Son God sent to one and all, put on this earth to hang there on that cross, born to die so we could live. He had a birthday, we got the gift. They wrapped him up with gentle hands. God hoped the world would understand. Eternal life we shall receive, and in return all he asks is that we just believe. He was the Son God sent to one and all, put on this earth to hang there on that cross, born to die so we could live. He had the birthday, we got the gift. No way in this world we could repay the miracle he gave us on that day. He was the Son God sent to one and all, put on this earth to hang there on that cross, born to die so we could live. He had a birthday, we got the gift. On our Saviour's birthday, we got the gift. God bless.
Well, that was a gift, Mr. Pedley. Thank you very much for sharing your gift with us today. Morning, LAC. Morning. Now, I'm going to apologise to the teachers, but more so to the to the students, but more so to the teachers, that I might go just a touch over. I'm just looking at the time, and I've got a lot to say, so I'll see how I can go from this. Anyway, last couple of days, with this idea of Uber Jesus, okay? Uber Jesus, Uber being ultimate, above all, none better than, okay? And we want Jesus in the driver's seat of our car. But yesterday we recognized the fact that our default, because of sin, because of our sinful nature, is that, yes, sorry, I'm all over the place, aren't I? The default is that who wants to drive? Ourselves. Me, I want what I want because I think I know what's best, but ultimately that is not actually the case. The problem is that when we actually when we actually find out that Jesus is in our car, if we've accepted him to do that, like the disciples did on that first day we talked about, hey, follow me. And the disciple went, okay. Then they realized that, hey, Jesus is actually in my boat, but am I actually acknowledging him in my life? Am I actually putting him in the driver's seat? Or is he just, like I said, in the boot? And we just sort of open up the boot and go, yeah, Jesus, you can come out now for a little bit, and then we'll put you back in the boot, and that's all I want you in my life at the present moment, okay? But the problem is that once we get to this idea that we want to step out of the driver's seat, we've got to make sure we put Jesus in it, because there is a lot of things vying for the driver's seat. And that's today what we're going to talk about, is this idea of if you're not in the driver's seat, who is? I was driving. There was one afternoon. I lived on the Gold Coast. Well, I worked on the Gold Coast, but I lived in northern New South Wales in a town called Murwillumbah. Can you say that? Murwillumbah. Okay. And Murwillumbah, you could drive the highway, but the highway is shocking, terrible traffic. So what I used to do is go over the range, and I didn't have to go on the highway at all. Okay. This range, and it would take me right into Murwillumbah. But the range was pretty windy, but it was fun. It was good, you know. It keeps you awake, and you're driving in the windy road, and the kids are in the back, and they go, Dad, I feel a bit sick. It's like, okay, I better slow down a little bit, okay? So this particular day, however, I get a phone call from my wife. Hey, Matt, yeah. Big storm cell coming, because there's pretty decent storms you get in Australia, especially around this region. And they go, it's going to be a big one. You might want to leave a little early from school. So, okay, good plan. So, jump in the car, get the kids in the car, because they're at school, you know, I'm the chaplain there, and I go, okay, jump in the car, guys, we've really got to go now, because we don't want to get caught in this bad weather. Now, it had been raining for the majority of the day, but this particular storm cell was coming, and so, hey, let's get home quickly. And so, as we head up the valley into this, up the range, there is a couple of corners you've got to be a little bit careful with. And, of course, I was trying to beat the storm, so I was traveling speedily, but I wasn't speeding, okay? I wasn't going over the limit. Promise, I heard that, okay? Promise I wasn't speeding. However, it had been raining, and here's just a little tip for those who are learning how to drive, okay? I drove a Ford Focus, okay? Ford Focus is a front-wheel drive car, okay? Not too bad, 2-litre, had a little bit of guts to it when you wanted to. And as I was traveling, I got to this one particular point, and you know how those yellow signs, they give you like those numbers, not speed limits, they're speed suggestions, okay? That's what yellow is. Yellow is just to be caution, okay? It's the red one with the white one you've got to really, really obey. But they are pretty good suggestions, I might add, okay? So perhaps those suggestions I wasn't paying too much attention to this particular day, and I should have, especially on some of these corners. Because in this particular spot, I was going downhill. It was wet, and I was in a front-wheel drive car. Now, some of you are going, yeah, so big deal. This combination does not work very well, okay? This combination doesn't work very well. So what happens is that I'm going towards this, and I'm going a little bit quick, okay, for the conditions. And as... Can you hear me down there? No. I can't walk around so much. I'm going down this hill... I'm going down this hill, and I can tell I'm going a little bit quick. And so when I go into the corner is a right-hand turn, and it's quite sharp. And I stupidly, this is what you don't do, I tap my brakes a little bit too heavy. Okay. Ideally, what I should have done is gear change down, because it was manual, okay, and it would have slowed me up in a good way, but I tapped the brakes as I turned. Cars in the wet, front-wheel drive, going downhill too fast, does not work. And so my wheels locked, and my wheel was like this. I wanted to go that way, but my car was going this way still. And this corner was quite sharp. And what I could see coming was this guardrail. Now I'm glad the guardrail was here, and I'll get to that in a minute. But as I'm travelling there, like everything again goes into slow motion. And I'm like going, oh, and I'm sliding. I'm going, this is not going to end very well. My boys in the back of the car are just sort of silent. I think they're just like going, and as I turn and I keep sliding, thankfully, the guardrail was about 2 metres off the road, which I'll get to that in a minute. That's a good thing, okay? And once my turned wheels jumped off the road, it hit a bit of a different surface, a bit of gravel, and it somehow caught and flipped me back onto the road. Now, thankfully, thank Jesus, okay, that there was no car coming in the other way, because I ended up swerving onto the other side of the road and then correcting and then working myself out. Now, no harm was done, thank goodness. But I looked in the rear vision mirror to my kids who were like, and then all of a sudden, they just go, ah! They just start laughing. And I'm like going, man, I'm not laughing, I need a toilet. You know, this is not pleasant. Now, the reason why I tell you this is because it's interesting that when we drive on the road, there are things there to help us. Okay? And when I say help us, is that when we're maybe not paying attention, we've done a stupid thing, or we've been led astray, okay, there are things on the side of the road that we have to assist us in not getting too hurt. Okay? These things are called guardrails. Now, on the road, you will notice that the guardrail is not actually on the road. It's a couple of metres off the road, and it's also a couple of metres away from the danger zone. Okay? I want you to think about this. You're driving along, you'll find it in the dangerous spots, on bridges, on corners, on, sort of hillside cliffs, things like that. They are there to help protect you and direct you in a way that's going to help your life. If you bump into a guardrail, sure, you're going to scratch your car. You might even need to get a bit of, might need to fix it up. But it's a better alternative than going off the cliff. Does that make sense? Now, in driving, that's a really good thing. But I think if we want to be wise, which I think we really want to be, and I'll explain the reason in a minute why, is that we want to be wise, we need guardrails in our life. And that's what I want to talk about today, and I've got a few examples and a few bits and pieces like that, but I want to give you just a bit of a precursor to this. I am not your parent. Okay? So I'm not going to speak to you like, look, you take this or leave it. It's entirely over to you. Okay? But I'm telling you right now, when Jesus is in the driver's seat, we're all good. But our tendency is to shift them out and jump back in, remember? And if we don't have them in the driver's seat, there are going to be other things that are going to jump in the driver's seat. And if we don't have these guardrails in place, I tell you what, you're not just going to get a scratch, you're going to go, woo! To some pretty nasty stuff. You get hurt far worse. Got a little text here I want you to come on now. That was working before, wasn't it, guys? Let me try. Here we go. Try again. Yeah, they did right. 3, 2, 1. Check this out. It says, be very careful then how you live. Now, what that means by how you live actually means by how you walk in regards to how you live your life. How you go about living your life. Where are you going to walk? Okay? Not as unwise, but as wise. Now, it's interesting, that text there, how you live, okay? What that boils down to, who has a dog? Whose dog lives out in the backyard? You know very well what I mean when I say, when you go into the backyard, you need to be very careful. Do you get me? Okay? If you're not very careful, you'll stand on something that's not very pleasant. Okay? That is really what this text is saying. Walk around in your life and be careful, because, as it says, not as the unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. What does it mean to be wise? Any other just suggestions? Just throw a word out. What is wise being wise? Grey hair. Does that mean you can only be wise if you dye your hair or wait a long time? Or maybe not so long for some people. No. What else? Grey hair, you're right. That's very true. You will find people who are grey. I was having a conversation the other day with someone. And they said, you know what, I tend to and I don't pay attention to maybe the mistakes that other people make. I just want to make my own mistakes. And I went, oh, you know what, you must be the oldest child in your family. This person doesn't do it. For me, I'm the youngest, I'm the baby. I have a 15-year-old, sorry, 15-year-old, no. A sister who's 15 years older than me, then another sister who's 13 years older than me, and then I have a brother who's 8 years older than me. I say that I grew up with 5 parents. Okay. But I tell you what, I paid attention to their mistakes. And although I've made my own mistakes in life, okay, as growing up and sorting it all out, there's a lot that I didn't have to make because they made it for me. And that's wise. Let me explain to you why. Now we can talk about what wisdom is, but we don't have a huge amount of time to get your input here. But I want you to think of wisdom or being wise as walking through life with your eyes open. Now I know you're thinking, walking to walls if you close your eyes, okay? No. What I want you to think about is that I want you to be aware that what you do today is going to affect tomorrow. Now, it might not be immediate. I don't mean actually tomorrow. There'll be a consequence for what you do today. There'll be a flow-on effect, and it will come. There'll be a consequence, good or bad. That's recognizing that and understanding that and making decisions based on that is wise living. That's what this text is talking about. So therefore, being foolish is the opposite of that. Knowing that what I'm going to do might affect me tomorrow, but I don't care, I'm going to do it anyway. That is being foolish. And I think more times than not in Scripture, God calls us to be wise, not just good. Do the good thing, not the bad thing. No, be wise. Think about it. You guys are smart. If you choose to be wise, you will live a far greater, more happy life. Take it from me. And I'm not comparing. And it says, therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is. What does that mean? The Lord's will is I want to be in your driver's seat. Give me the wheel. Anyway, get that. Okay, so you're just tricking with me, right? Okay, no, here you go. Next one, guardrails there to direct and protect. We already talked about that, okay? They are wanting to direct our life and they want to protect our life. We want these things in place. Now, a guardrail in our own life, okay, not just on the road, but in our life, is something that we put in place to stop us falling over the edge. It's something in our life that although it might not be physical like on the road, but it's something mental in our head that goes, ooh, that hurt. Or, ooh, alarm bells are going off. So I need to get back onto the road. Or I need to get quickly Jesus in the driver's seat. Okay? Because inevitably, we will jump back in the driver's seat, as we talked about yesterday. So that is what it is to be wise, to have these guardrails in place. Because if you don't, you go off track, and these things jump in the driver's seat and drive for you, they will take you off the edge. Here's a really cool text for you. Before I say it though, my father-in-law has this saying. It says, you can pick your friends and you can pick your nose. But you can't pick your friend's nose. Okay? It's wise living. You'll probably get a thumb. Okay? I know you go, where are you going? I don't know what it means either. But it's a really good thing to remind yourself that you need to choose good friends. Because I'm telling you right now, Who you choose to hang out with will direct your path. Show me who you're hanging out with now, I'll tell you where you'll end up. Because what happens is that our friends influence us, especially at your age. Especially at your age. Friends are the most important thing. They become parents, sort of not so much. In regards to influencing, I want to make my own life, my own decisions, want to drive the own wheel. Yeah, friends are a good idea. Well, you know what? Friends can be awesome, but man, they can be pretty bad too. And so when it comes to choosing your friends, make sure you are choosing wisely. Check this text out. 3,000 years ago. Walk with the wise. Remember what wise is? People who know what's going to happen tomorrow, so they think about it, make good decisions because that's going to affect me tomorrow. Okay? And become wise. For a companion of fools suffers harm. Walk with the wise and become what? Wise. That's a promise. You hang out with wise people, you're going to be wise. Now, if you hang out with fools, you're going to be a fool? No, you're already a fool. Okay? There's no promise there. There's no promise there. But if you choose to hang out with someone who really doesn't care about what's going to happen and the consequences, you are not going to turn into a fool, because you technically already are at the moment. Okay? You are going to suffer harm. You are going to get hurt. You are going to make those poor choices. Okay? So picking, not your friend's nose, but just picking really good friends is a really, really important thing. So what I'm going to do now is just run through a couple of real basic things, what I feel are the things that vie for your driver's seat in your life. Okay? And I'm just going to suggest some possible guardrails that you could, so we're going to get very practical for the next few minutes, okay? What are some things that you could put in your life to help direct and help protect you? For those times where you bump whoever's, either you're in the driver's seat or more importantly, you're out of the driver's seat and these things jump in your driver's seat and go, yeah, let's go for a ride. So I'm going to start with friends. Here it says, when you catch yourself doing or saying something you don't, that's grammar there, you don't believe or agree with. So in other words, you start pretending. If you sense that in a friendship, where you catch yourself going, I don't do this. I don't say that. I don't believe that. But I'm going to pretend anyway. I'm telling you right now, that is a guardrail. Put that in your psyche, put that in your mind, and that will make you go, oh, hang on, I don't think this is a great friendship. Now, I'm not saying ditch the person. I'm just saying maybe keep your distance. Okay? Still be friendly. Don't unfollow them. Okay? Just don't follow them. Literally. I'm going to do what you're going to do. Okay? That is a guardrail in your life. Okay, next one. If you ever feel pressured to compromise, oh, come on, it's alright. Yeah, no, just bing, 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 guardrail. You're running up along the guardrail. It's your time to turn back. Get back on the road. Because otherwise, if you don't have that there, these things in place, just woo! There you go. Yeah. Catching yourself saying, oh, I'll go, but I just won't participate. I'll just be there as a part of it, but I won't get involved. Keep quiet. Okay? That ain't going to happen. Okay? I can tell you right now, talk to any of your teachers, okay? They might not tell you specifics, but I tell you right now, ask them the worst decisions you've made or the stupidest things you've done in your life, who were you with? I guarantee they weren't with their parents. I guarantee they weren't with... They would have been with friends. I can guarantee it. Because with your friends, you drop everything. You drop your guard. It's all cool. I'm just in a safe environment. Everything else. Why are you? And you've chosen wisely. When you hope the people you care about don't know where you are. Now, if those are the sorts of things going in your mind, that is a guardrail. That should alert you to go, hang on here. I'm going off
So that's friends. Okay? But there's some other things we've got to think about as well. Technology. Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what, I'm not your parent. Take it or leave it. You want to be wise? Be wise. You know? Suffer consequences. Okay? Check this out. This is a good guardrail. In your room by yourself with your electronic device. And I think you're going, well, what's wrong with doing homework? Yeah, sure. You're about 3 clicks away from a lot of other things in homework. I can tell you that right now. Okay? That is something. You snigger, but this will cause you. Your choices you make today affect tomorrow. And I don't mean just tomorrow. It might be next week. It might be next year. It might be in 10 years' time. But there's consequences. You click that wrong thing and then you get into a pattern of behaviour. Man, you are, woo! Wish I had that guardrail there. Well, hang on. If I'm out in another space with other people around, I've got accountability. If I'm in my room by myself with my electronic device, I don't have to worry about the cliff because I've just avoided the guardrail and I'm on the road and I'm sitting free. You wouldn't say it to someone's face. Don't put it on social media. Okay? So easy to write something on a paper. Oh, I saw such and such and did you see her today? You know, this sort of jazz. Man, would you say that to a person's face 99 times out of 10? No. 99 out of 10. Yeah, exactly. No all the time. Don't bother. Here's another one. And I better go quick. Sorry, teachers. Give your phones a big time. Put them to sleep. I can tell you what. You turn your phone off, it won't run away. What happens on the phone still happens. It's just asleep. So when you turn it back on in the morning, guess what? It comes back on. It's amazing. But you know what though? I know you laugh, but it makes sense because I know some of you are sleep deprived because you're doing this all night. True. Okay? And there's some consequences to that behaviour today, and if you're wise, you think about what they might be, you might want to change that. Put it to sleep, it's alright. And not next to your bed. You know, turn it on up. Wait for it. I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to dwell on this. If you want to talk to me more about this later, I'm reading a book at the moment that's just blowing my mind in regards to the issues with gaming. Now, gaming in itself, okay, sure, it might be alright. But not harnessed in a particular way and not with boundaries and not with guardrails, it is not a good cliff. It's a bad one. And there's so many things coming out in research now that is just blowing my mind, blowing your mind, literally. It's not good. It's not good for brain development, it's not good for all these things. I'm not your parent. Just saying it how it is. There are young people who are going through psychosis, in other words, hallucinations, thinking they're in the game because they're playing 12 hours a day, because they're going all the way and they're being sleep deprived. This is what you can get into if you don't put a guardrail, like set a timer. And if you get angry when the timer goes off, you put a phone. You laugh. Seriously, do. You've got to be really careful with that. Because I'm telling you right now, what you do today is going to affect tomorrow. If you're lying about, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, goodness me. No, you weren't. You were just doing that. Can't remember. This one here. Relationships. Really quickly. The lights are off in the room. We're by ourselves. Bing, 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 bing. Bad news. Okay? Some of you go, yeah, you know where this leads. It is a very simple guardrail. Very, very simple guardrail. And it will save you a lot of heartache. Good. And then finish, sorry guys. Watch how he treats his mum. Seriously, watch how he treats his mum. Because ultimately, that's how you'll be treated. Huh? mum how he will treat his lady in the future. It's a guardrail. Well, it's a kidnap. What you choose today affects tomorrow. Be wise. And last one, you're in a relationship. Exclusivity in regards to we try ourselves all the time, like tiny twins, and we go and hang out with anyone else. That is actually not good. It's actually unhealthy in a relationship. And what you're doing is actually having a relationship that is fake. Because what happens is that that's not how you live life. You can't be Siamese twins for the rest of your life. You must interact with other people. And you must learn how the person who you are liking and dating or whatever the case may be interacts with other people. Because in life, that's how they'll do. And you're not learning the true them if you're just with them all the time. That is a guardrail. Segregating yourself from everyone else. It's a you know what? Let's just hang out with other people. And then, look, I know I'm probably feeling like a bit of a parent at the moment. But I have a real passion for this stuff because I know I've seen a lot of young people make stupid decisions because they just haven't lived wisely. They walk out the backyard and they have your eyes open. And more importantly, we'll talk about this tomorrow, is put Jesus in that seat. So we don't have to worry about these other things that lie for us. Let's pray. Thanks for your word. Thanks for the wisdom that you give us. But more importantly, Lord, we just ask that you can get in our driver's seat. Lord, I know we're going to try and jump in there from time to time, and I pray that we can live wisely and put guardrails in place because they're so important. We just want the best for us, Lord. And I just pray that this conversation can continue as we can put these in our lives and learn about ways to put them in our driver's seat.